Bones here. It's been a long time since I've made one of these, but what better time than when being baited by nostalgia? I've been watching all the recent releases from afar as I've journeyed and conquered Night Rain's deepest depths, sitting at a pretty 9999 or max rank now. Initially, when I saw that we had to wait several months to see what the new Call of the Haunted theme would look like, my initial reaction was this. Fast forward a few months, and Konami started to reveal support for Dark Magician, and it was impossible to not hear about all the insane overframe cards and cards with serialization numbers, but most importantly, themes that called back to the richest part of this game's history. Over the last week, I've been tinkering with my favorite ones, as seeing the Phantom Knights and Attempt support tugged a string that I just didn't know had been there. But today's video is about the new Call of the Haunted theme. I've been doing my homework online to make sure that I can leave you guys with something in this video. As usual, we'll start with the combo so that once I reach the deck profile, it's simpler to discuss my thought process with you guys. So we're going to start here with the first new card. It's Pumpking, the King of Grave Ghosts. It's a level 6 zombie with 1950 attack, 2600 defense, and it reads, you can reveal this card in your hand, set one Call of the Haunted from your deck or graveyard, and if you do, discard one card. That set card can be activated this turn. If this card is special summoned, you can special summon one level 6 zombie monster from your deck, except with 1950 attack. Also, you cannot special summon from the hand or graveyard for the rest of this turn. So any future zombie level 6 with 1950 attack is going to be looked at in a very funny way. You can only use each effect of Pumpking the King of Grave Ghosts once per turn. And we're going to start here by using its effects so that we can set our Call of the Haunted, discard it, and then we'll be able to activate that Call of the Haunted so that we can bring back the Pumpking. And this will give us the ability to use its effect on field so that we can special summon out a copy of Jiangshi. And I would like to point out that this will be the last combo I show with the Jiangshi alongside the whole Ballard Rock thing, partially due to me wanting to show off the new cards, but it's also because of deck choices that I made on in this video. So we're going to continue here by using the effect of the Jiangshi in order to send the copy of the Ballard Rock. We'll then go into our next new card. This is the Pumpking, the Great Ghost King. It's a rank 6 with 2400 attack, 2600 defense that takes 2 level 6 zombie monsters, and it reads, while you control Call of the Haunted, your opponent cannot target zombie monsters you control with monster effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Pumpking the Great Ghost King once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can add one Call of the Haunted or one card that mentions it from your deck to your hand. You can detach one material from this card, then target up to 2 cards on the field, return them to the hand. So this is a really good rank 6 for the deck, as it gives it a facilitator, it gives it a boss monster, as you'll see momentarily, but it also gives it protection, which is really nice as well, as we're then going to be able to use the effect here in order to add ourselves our next new card. This is the Stare of the Snake Hair, also a level 6 zombie monster with 1500 attack, 1200 defense, and it reads, you can discard this card, add one Call of the Haunted or one spell trap that mentions it from your deck to your hand. If this card is special summoned, you can target one attack position monster your opponent controls. That face-up monster cannot attack. Its effects are negated, and also it cannot be used as material for fusion, synchro, exceed, or link summon. You can only use each effect of Stare of the Snake Hair once per turn. So kind of in theme here that you can freeze it with the Stare of the Snake Hair that can get you into either your Call of the Haunted or a spell trap that mentions it from your deck to your hand, which this deck does have a Rhoda for the archetype, so it essentially nabs you a monster as well. But we're going to be able to use its effect as we're going to grab ourselves the Call of the Forgotten, and this is the new field spell that was one of the first cards I believe revealed. And it reads, when this card is activated, you can set up to 3 Call of the Haunted from your deck and or graveyard. And if you do, until the end of your opponent's turn, you cannot special summon except zombie monsters or monsters from the graveyard. Once per turn, if you activate Call of the Haunted, you can target one monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. You can only activate one Call of the Forgotten per turn. That last effect is actually really nice because it gives you an extra piece of disruption. So with one card, you're actually able to get a lot, as you'll see momentarily. But we're going to be able to activate it now in order to get our other 2 copies of Call of the Haunted. The reason I'm playing 3 is because it just helps you play around singular disruption as well as hand traps. If your opponent uses something like Bell or a Bestial, you can always just chain another and still be in comfort that you have your other copies so that you can continue to go off. But we're going to continue here by using the effect of the Pumpkin so that we can get back that last Call of the Haunted that's still face up, put it back into the hand. Then we can go into our Undying Legion after we set it. Now, you actually don't have to set it. You can set it if you want. It really depends on what the rest of your hand looks like because, as I said, while you can play around potential hand traps by setting more, you can also have different cards in hand to help mitigate losing to hand traps like that. And sometimes keeping it can be a little bit safer so that you don't lose to mass back row removal either. But we're now going to go into our next new card. This is the Undying Legion, a rank 7 that takes 2 level 7 monsters, but once per turn, you can also exceed summon the Undying Legion by using one rank 6 zombie exceed monster you control, transfer its materials, that's how we summoned it, and during your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card or just one material if all this card's materials are exceed monsters, then target one attack position monster your opponent controls or one monster in their graveyard, attach it to this card. You can only use this effect of Undying Legion once per turn. Now with this, you'll see that we have 2 pieces of interruptions here on the board already, but once we go on to our opponent's turn, we'll be able to get a couple more, as you'll see that we have the Ballard Rock giving us a couple more, and then we'll be able to activate our Call of the Haunted in order to bring back the Pumpkin. The Pumpkin will be able to get you the next new card, and this is the Great Mammoth of the Netherworld. It's another level 6 zombie monster with 2200 attack, 1800 defense, and it reads, if this card is special summoned and you control Call of the Haunted or a zombie monster except Great Mammoth of the Netherworld, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. You can only use this effect of Great Mammoth of the Netherworld once per turn. A zombie exceed monster that has this card as material gains this effect. Gains 1000 attack. Having the ability to pop a card is very nice. It's also the third interruption that you get off of this, as you'll see that we have the other Call of the Haunted that can bring back the snake hair, and then this gives you the ability to potentially floodgate your opponent if they don't have anything else that they can use as material to continue their plays, as you're able to lock their fusion, synchro, exceed, or link summon for a material. Or I guess if that sounds confusing, you can just target one of their monsters and it can't be used for material of said cards. But also the fact that it can negate the effect is nice as well, providing an extra layer of disruption to give you a total of 4 excluding Ballard Draw. Now for this next one, I want to start with Stare of the Snake Hairs. You'll see that we have a few 1-card combos. I think this entire video is going to be comprised of 1-card combos because there's 5 of them. So we're going to start here by getting ourselves the copy of Ectoplasmic Fortification off of the Snake Hair, and this is a normal spell card that reads, activate one of these effects. If you control no monsters, add one level 6 zombie monster or one Call of the Forgotten from your deck to your hand. The second effect reads, zombie monsters you control gain 400 attack, then you can draw cards equal to the number of Call of the Haunted you control. You can only activate one Ectoplasmic Fortification per turn. So while it is sort of an inconvenience at times that you need to not control any monsters, just having a Rhoda for the archetype is huge because it gives you another 1-card starter and adds to that consistency. But we're going to then be able to get ourselves the copy of the Pumpkin, and I believe I mentioned it in that first combo. This one will not feature the Ballard Rock, as I said earlier in the video. I just have a different deck building philosophy for this deck. Because of the fact that you're able to get so many disruptions off of 1 card alone, Ballard Rock just feels like it's win more with the ability to help brick you a little bit more, especially when you're considering that you're also playing the Jiangshi for it, and you already have cards like Mammoth, which is an awful brick. You also have cards like this next one. It's the Army of the Haunted that we're summoning out that you really don't want to draw. You have the 3 copies of the Call of the Haunted, the Call of the Forgotten. There's just a bunch of stuff that you play that I feel makes playing the Ballard Rock a little bit worse. But Army of the Haunted is another level 6 zombie that reads, if you control a Call of the Haunted and this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can special summon this card. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Call of the Haunted in your graveyard, set it. You can only use each effect of Army of the Haunted once per turn. Now the cool thing about this is that it kind of reminds me of a zombie version of the Goblin Elite Attack Force, just because it's one of those monsters with an art that has multiple monsters in it and it's like a legion. So pretty cool concept there, and the same can be said for the Undying Legion, the rank 7, but we're going to continue here by going into our Ghost King, or the King of Ghosts, I forget what it's called, get ourselves the Call of the Forgotten with it, as we'll then be able to return our Call of the Haunted with the Pumpkin. And now from here, we'll be able to go into our Undying Legion, activate the Call of the Forgotten. We'll then be able to set our Call of the Haunted, set the last one if you would like to, and then we can pass on to our opponent with the extra layers of disruption in the graveyard that you get via the Pumpkin summoning out the Great Mammoth and the Snake Hair. Now, the next one card combo features Unizombie, and this is where my deck is going to differ. What I've seen online, at least, I haven't seen anything else beyond that. But because Unizombie is a one card starter, I decided to maximize on it, and I also decided to maximize on what you'll see here, the Glow Up Bloom. And we're going to start here by using its effect in order to grab ourselves the copy of the Pumpkin, and we'll then be able to use the effect of the Pumpkin in order to grab ourselves the copy of the Call of the Haunted, as we'll discard the Pumpkin, and now we can activate the Call of the Haunted. Another place where this combo will differ is the fact that we have a level 4 tuner on field, and because we have Army of the Haunted, we can do this as well. So we're going to go into our Red Eyes Zombie Dragon Lord, use the Army of the Haunted in the graveyard so that we can special summon it back and get access into our rank 6 that way. So we'll use the effect of the rank 6 in order to get ourselves the copy of the Snake Hair. We'll then be able to use the effect of the Pumpkin or the rank 6 in order to get back our Call of the Haunted. And from here we'll then be able to use the effect of the Snake Hair, get ourselves the Call of the Forgotten. From here we'll then be able to activate the Call of the Forgotten, get ourselves the 2 copies of the Call of the Haunted, set the third, and finally go into our Undying Legion. Now lastly, before I go on to the next one, I would like to point out the really nice thing about the Red Eye Zombie Dragon Lord here is the fact that you're able to play around a potential Bestial on your opponent's turn, or some sort of DD Crow or whatever they choose to try to remove it, a Shark Cannon if you're playing against Strikers, seeing as that got new support as well. Just the fact that you're going to be using your Call of the Haunted on your opponent's turn, and then you have this as insurance, can be very helpful. Now for this next one, we're going to feature the Glow Up Bloom. As you saw, once you send the Glow Up Bloom off of Unizombie, you're able to get access into the Ghost King, but instead, when you draw it here, you'll see that you can go into a Link 1, whether that be Almirage or Anima if you're going second. But we're going to continue here by activating the Pumpkin, and you're just going to see a bunch of the same stuff here. Get the Call of the Haunted, bring back the Pumpkin, as we'll then be able to use the effect of Pumpkin. We'll get ourselves the Army of the Haunted. Again, if you're playing Changshi because you want to play the Ballard Rock stuff, then you can. I'm just choosing not to, but we're going to be able to go into our Pumpkin, use the effect in order to get ourselves the Snake Hair. From here, we'll be able to use the effect of Pumpkin so that we can get back our copy of Call of the Haunted. I also would like to point out that if you're going second, you have Anima, and you've already stolen something with Anima, you can use the effect of the Pumpkin to return the Anima as well, so that you have another potential steal if you need to on one of your next turns. But we're going to activate the copy of the Snake Hair in order to get ourselves the Call of the Forgotten, and now we can activate the Call of the Forgotten, get ourselves the 2 copies of Call of the Haunted. We'll then go into the Undying Legion, set the other copy of Call of the Haunted, and with this we can pass on to our opponent. Now for the final one card combo, we have the Ectoplasmic Fortification, and this one is going to start here by activating it so that we can get the copy of the Pumpkin. And again, much like you've seen in these previous combos, it's really just going to be the same thing where you want to set up your field with the Call of the Haunted, your different disruptions, or really just your 4 disruptions off of your 1 card combo is what it really is. But we're going to get the Undead Army or the Army of the Haunted, whatever it's called. But we're going to then go into our Flying Mary and just play into Nibiru. But I wanted to show it off because when you're going second, you still have the ability to potentially get an extra pop off of the Flying Mary, where if you don't know what this does, is it takes 2 zombie monsters and you can target one of your level 5 or higher zombie monsters that is banished or in your graveyard, place this card in your spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous spell, and if you do, special summon that monster. While this card is a continuous spell, you can target one level 5 or higher zombie monster you control, destroy one monster your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to that monster. You can only use each of the following effects of Flying Mary, or you can only use each of the effects of Flying Mary, the Wandering Ghost Ship, once per turn. So, as you'll see, we'll be able to bring back the copy of the Pumpkin with the Flying Mary, and then use the Army of the Haunted to bring itself back, and this lets us go into the Pumpkin. So really, the only thing that you're getting off that extra summon is the ability to get that extra pop, and with Pumpkin, you can also put the Flying Mary back into your extra deck if you need to, but we're going to then use the effect in order to grab our Snake Hair. We'll then use the effect to bounce our Call of the Haunted. As you'll see, we're going to also bounce the Flying Mary. We're then going to be be able to activate the Snake Hair, get ourselves the copy of the Call of the Forgotten. We'll then be able to go into our Undead Legion. We'll then activate the Call of the Forgotten to get our copies of the Call of the Haunted. I'll take you onto the deck profile. So with all of the combos out of the way, we can finally get onto the deck profile. And the first thing that you'll notice, as probably I've said a million times now, is the no Jankshi, no Allard Rock. I really just didn't feel like playing the zombie package and extending beyond what this deck is originally trying to do was the right choice. I felt that the right choice was actually to maximize seeing Pumpking and trying to get those 4 disruptions consistently as possible. You see, we have 15 ways to do so with our 12 one-card starters here, and then the 3 other ones right here. Stated, once you play the Ballard Rock and the Mizuki and all this other stuff here, you also open the doors to brick your hands because, as said earlier, you're playing the 3 Call of the Haunted. There's also all the going second cards that you want to play. The fact that we're able to play 17 going second cards here because we have 15 one-card starters here is a strength alone that this deck has that a lot of other decks I know kind of wish they had. So I chose to build the deck towards its strengths. And of course, we also have the Lord of the Heavenly Prison. This is to protect your back row. You'll see that we have the Forbidden Droplets over the copies of the Imperm. In some formats, I would say that it's okay to side the Forbidden Droplets. I still think that they're worth siding just because of all the extra bodies that you end up having with Call of the Haunted and whatnot. They're just free sends. And the Call of the Haunted, of course, can also be free sends. The bigger thing is that Dragoon is now back in the format, and with Dragoon in the format, the deck needs an out to it, and there's not really a lot of in-engine or in-archetype outs to Dragoon, so that's why I feel like the Droplet and the Impulse are just so important for this deck. And because we play the Lord of the Heavenly Prison alongside the Red Eyes, we have rank 10 options, which is why the Varudas and the Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon are here. They're just 2 good rank 10s that you can go into. One can potentially win you the game. The other one gives you an Omni alongside a potential pop. Then finally, what I really want to do here is go towards the options. You'll see that there are a few flex spots where you have the 2 extra rank 6 zombies here. You could probably play 2 copies of the Undying Legion if you would like to. I like playing the 3 just because we play 4 of rank 6 zombies. With the open extra deck space that you do have, you can play the Fallen and the Virtuous. Then you'll also see that I'm not on Zombie World, Delta, Vortex of Time, which I believe is another new card I'll read over now. When your opponent activates a normal or quick play spell card or effect or monster effect while you control a zombie monster and Call of the Haunted, except during the damage step, your opponent tosses a coin, and this is why I don't play it, and their activated effect becomes the following effect. Heads, your opponent must banish 1 monster they control. Tails, you must banish all monsters you control. So while you can kind of do a Joey Wheeler and try to get lucky, I tried to make consistency priority with this build inherently come with the deck. And then finally we have the Deadly Zombie Breath, the last new card I believe. And if you control a zombie monster and Call of the Haunted, target 1 monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. If you control a zombie monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 face-up card you control and 1 face-up card your opponent controls, send them to the graveyard. You can only use 1 Deadly Zombie Breath effect per turn and only once that turn. Again, I'm not playing it same reason as Ballard Rock and whatnot. If I was playing this, I felt I was being hypocritical about Ballard Rock, as I really am not trying to add the extra bricks, and I do feel like you have enough disruptions that you can pair with going second cards. When you're getting 4 disruptions off a 1-card starter, and then you can pair it with 3, 4 hand traps, that ends up being more than your opponent can spawn to, and I just think that's crazy. The Samurai Skull is another option that I've seen instead of the Unizombie, and I chose the Unizombie just because you have access into this. But also, once you revive it off of the Call of the Haunted, you can get Ascend again, so it's more synergy there. While this is potentially better going second, it's just that it relies on its normal summon. And all these zombie cards I'm not playing for the reason I've said a million times. Same with the Golden Lord. You can potentially play it with the Delta. I just don't think it's necessary. The Nib is another level 10 hand trap that you can play in order to go into your rank 10s if you want to do that. I would also like to talk about Evenly. Evenly can kind of destroy this deck, so I think the best thing that you can do is potentially side the Eradicator Epidemic Virus so that you don't lose to it. There's also stuff like Lightning Storm and Harpy's Feather Duster, which can destroy you as well, which is why I'm playing the Lord of the Heavenly Prison. With Solemn Judgment now at 1, there's less answers to stuff like that now. Eradicator might be a mandatory card in the side deck, at least until we get that new Solemn card, the Solemn Report, I think it's called. Yeah, it's another Solemn, and this one lets you negate spell and trap cards, so something to be on the lookout for can potentially help this deck a lot. With all of that out of the way, I don't have much else to say about the list. I think that I've pretty much said all of my thoughts about the video, so I'm just going to get onto the card by card. And we have the 3 copies of Pumpking, the 3 copies of Snakehair, the 3 copies of Unizombie, the 3 copies of Bloom, the 1 copy of Called By, the 1 copy of Crossout, the 2 Droll, the 3 Call of the Haunted, the 1 Call of the Forgotten, the 1 copy of Talent, 3 copies of the Ectoplasmic. Then we have the 1 copy of the Mammoth, the 1 copy of Army, the 2 copies of the Heavenly Prison, the 3 copies of Ash, the 3 copies of Bell, the 3 copies of Droplet, and the 3 copies of Impulse to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck, I think Dark is great this format because Dragoon, you out it with Droplet, then able to potentially bring it back. I believe, I don't remember if Gaze is treated as a fusion summon. Maybe I'm wrong there, but it's been some time. Then there's the SP, there's the Flying Mary, there's the Almirage, the Anima dies. We then have the Dreadnought, the Varudas. We then have the copy of the Vampire Sheridan, the copy of Wallow. We then have the 2 copies of Pumpkin, and the 3 Undying Legion to round out the deck profile.